Hello, everyone. I'm super excited for this special episode of the Cyber Pro podcast. Today, I have a really cool woman who is the CEO and founder, and she's going to be talking about what she's doing for the DE&I, socially and economically disadvantaged minority communities. So with that, let's get it started. Question number one, who are you and what do you do?
Thank you, Rick. So my name is LaToya Johnson. I am the founder and CEO of AwayZone Incorporated. AwayZone is a minority-led enterprise that is concerned with creating economic equity for underrepresented communities. One of the ways that we are trying to go about doing that is through our new product, Victor, the app. Victor is a two-sided discovery platform that connects BIPOC, LGBTQ, and religious minority communities in America, connecting those communities to interested consumers based on those consumers' cultural preferences. So it's like a matchmaking platform where our consumers create their profile, select their cultural identifiers, and then we provide them with a list of businesses that meet their cultural identifiers. That gives those businesses premium placement in front of the consumer, increasing the likelihood that the consumer will spend money with that business.
What a cool idea. LaToya, tell me, why did you create this solution and how can people get involved?
So I created this solution coming from a consumer perspective for myself. I recognized that it was a challenge to find those authentically owned, culturally specific people, places, and experiences. I'm trying to use existing platforms like the Googles or the Yelps were often unreliable, or you would spend an extensive amount of research time trying to connect with the places that spoke to me culturally. So I decided that I wanted to make it easier to find those culturally specific experiences, right? And when you talk about culture, it breaks out into many different roads, which is essentially wanting to highlight the business owners that provide those cultural experiences. So that leads you into the Black-owned businesses, the Latinx-owned businesses, LGBTQ-owned businesses, et cetera. So I thought it would be a good idea to, be able to provide segmentation within the search, thus eliminating the research time for the consumer, because that's where I started, from a consumer perspective. And then I recognized how this could benefit the business. As I was doing my research for the company, I came across a study that the Kauffman Foundation had published, and they were analyzing the relationship between race and entrepreneurship and business ownership. And they listed a few gaps, but one of those gaps was a lack of access to and awareness of consumer markets where they can make successful sales of their products. And so it's like, okay, well, let's address that lack of access and awareness to markets, right? Let's give these owners a platform where they can be reached because of the culture that they represent and be found quickly, and give them that premium placement that they are not seeing on other platforms like Yelp or Google. So we built this with the consumer in mind first, because that's just where I was coming from. But then we recognized quickly the benefit that this has for business owners, and obviously the need that has been studied time and time again.
So why is Victor an important resource to our minority community?
Yes, I think it's a very important resource to underrepresented communities because it highlights the sort of underrepresented, right? We know that minority-owned businesses receive less funding less often and at a higher rate. And we also know that strong initial capital is associated with better business performance. There's a ton of data out there that suggests that minority business owners are not receiving the same support in terms of funding and investment as their non-minority counterparts. So what do they do in the meanwhile, while our institutional organizations are trying to figure that out and close those gaps? We give these business owners a tool that allows them to overcome those obstacles in real time. And what this tool does is allow them to get in front of the consumers quickly and easy, so that there's not a bunch of searching that has to go on, a bunch of verifying and validating on the back end. We take care of that for them. So this tool is really going to help create the connection between the business and their paying customers. And we're going to be able to do that, at a faster rate, quick and easy connections between both sides of the market.
Perfect. I do want to add just a quick follow-up question for you. You use the term underrepresented, and I love that term. I think that's such an all-encompassing term. What does it encompass? Like who could use your app?
When I use the term underrepresented, I am talking about those who have been historically disenfranchised or sort of left out of the loop in American history. So we are talking about businesses that are owned by a racial, ethnic, religious affiliation, or sexual orientation minority group. So that includes Black-owned, Hispanic-owned businesses and organizations that may cater to religious minorities, such as the Sikh community or some Muslim factions that operate here in the country, and even Jewish communities, right? When you think about what a religious minority means in America. But just sort of any community that has been sort of disenfranchised and left out of the success loop that we recognize in traditional society here. So we're definitely going for the outliers of the bell curve. We recognize that the center of the bell curve has, a majority of people, very generalized, and that's fine, but we think this solution will be more helpful for those that exist in the outlier area of the bell curve, because they need resources too. And so making sure that those communities have the resources that they need to support the businesses that serve those communities, create jobs that will serve those communities, create educational opportunities for others who may not necessarily be a part of that community, but they are a part of another group and they want to learn more in a safe, welcoming space. And sort of realizing the equity that we hope to achieve, city by city, state by state, region by region, and ultimately the country.
Honorable goals. I love it. LaToya, why is helping our underrepresented and diverse small business owners so important?
It's very important because, that is where society is heading, right? We are definitely on track to becoming a more diverse and inclusive society. The Pew Research Center studied, generationally, how important is racial and ethnic diversity, and is it good for society? And as previous generations start to age out, new generations come in, we know that Gen Z, 62% of them said that it's critically important to have opportunities for increasing racial and ethnic diversity. It's good for society. Millennials at 61%, Gen Xers at 52%. So this is where we're heading. And so knowing that society is now expecting more diversity and inclusion, and also taking more action to be inclusive, we want to give our business owners a tool that allows them to tap right into that momentum so that they can, be seen, be heard, be found, and keep their businesses going so that they can turn around and support their communities. As I mentioned before, strong businesses create job opportunities. Job opportunities ultimately create more employees and circulates the dollars throughout a multitude of communities, not just one, which is ultimately good for the overall economy.
LaToya, tell us a story that makes you smile about how you and the Victor app has helped a small business or small business owner?
Absolutely. So throughout this journey, one of the things that has kept me motivated to pursue the execution of this app and its launch is my conversations with the underrepresented business owners. One in particular, here in Central Indiana, we have a woman, her name is Nicole Kearney, and she owns a company called Sip and Share Wines. She specializes in vegan artisanal wine, and it is delicious. And so what we've been able to help her with is getting, amplifying her presence, getting her in front of a broader base of consumers. Indianapolis is a very diverse and welcoming city, and we have what I call a lot of allies. And with these allies, these are people who would normally know of Nicole and the Sip and Share Wine experience, just because lack of cross-cultural communication, right? So what Victor has been able to help Nicole do is get in front of a variety of communities and wine connoisseurs. Everyone loves wine, regardless of your background. And so she acknowledged the fact that Victor is an app that helps locate those underrepresented businesses, especially in the Midwest. And that's what we aim to do. You just think about locations that are not known for their diversity, but when you dig into them, they are very diverse. And so it's a matter of getting those businesses in front of those people so that they can support. And we were ecstatic to be a part of that journey with Nicole and, really helping broaden her base. And we were just one piece of her marketing plan, but that's the resource we want to provide to our business owners. You're going to have this grander, larger marketing plan. Now, how do you execute and what are the tactics? And Victor is going to be that B2C tool for our business owners to get in front of consumers.
What a wonderful story. LaToya, it was epic having you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Rick. I really appreciate it.
Hey, you did it. You made it to the end. Thank you so much. Check out more Cyber Pro Podcast.